Hey guys, welcome back to the other podcast, and today we've got another such an episode. This is episode 7. We're not in a professional studio this time, but I've got Franco right here behind me. Large Franco.
I'm good. A bit of shameless plug-in to start. I'm gonna be showing the short movie, which Andrea and Matthew have seen, Night Owl, on the 28th of January at Club Hawaii. I'm gonna put all the details at an event on Facebook. Please keep an eye out, and that's it. I'm very excited. Finally have some time to concentrate on doing another cut. And what about you, the one and only Joe, the resident MCU hater?
I'm good. I did actually just finish listening to the previous episode back again. I like that my reputation has come as far as this. I don't like you guys trying to replace me with Francesca. Fuck you both for that. I've been very good, like film-wise. I've been like kind of like back in the game in respect to that. I've watched a lot. She's like playing a new game as well. I give that a shout out. If any of you guys haven't heard of the game Phasmophobia, highly recommend. Basically, just go very quickly into it. It's up to 4 players, I believe. It's still in early access, so it's a bit buggy at times. That kind of makes it funnier. And you're ghost hunters, so you get given these cases and you have certain amounts of equipment. You go to a house and you have to record evidence of a ghost, and that can be anything from getting a ghost to blow out a candle, fighting off a ghost with a crucifix, catching a ghost on camera, and it's equal parts hilarious and terrifying at the same time. And me and my friends have had a lot of fun with that recently. But yeah, how's everyone else?
By the way, we have to introduce our special guest, Malta's own arms dealer.
Pilot. Thank you very much. I find I don't sell them. I just use them.
You just process them. Yeah, you do your own bombing runs then.
Allegedly.
Okay.
For legal reasons, with a blade, and not really, just for legal reasons.
He has Zelensky on the hotline, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's Putin. It's actually Putin. He has a future spare.
You're like the king of Jordan after ISIS attacked. Like he did his own bombings on ISIS. So you take matters into your own hands, allegedly.
I am not going to comment on that.
Okay, guys. So we have with us our special guest, Matt Bonanno, otherwise known as Karsten Inebarra, otherwise known as Bis-Serjeta.
Otherwise known as Most Wanted Man.
Yeah.
In Bujibba.
Lord of War, starring Nicolas Cage.
This has been quite the week, right, Matt?
It has a bit. It's been a bit busy. It's been a bit of a hectic one.
Thank you for making the time, Matt, to be here.
Thank you for having me. It's a nice break from journalists and media people.
So with
they're
Matt
they're
Bonanno...
lovely, but yeah.
Okay. Spartus Alekreifin. So we're going to discuss satire movies with Matt Bonanno, and we're also going to discuss our favorite satire movies, and especially the ones that came out last year. We had quite a number of satire movies, right? We had White Noise, the Menu, Triangle of Sadness, what was the other one?
And Glass Onion.
Glass Onion. We could, you could consider that as a satire as well. All right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think it's definitely a satire.
Actually, let me shut up and we'll get to it when we get to Glass Onion. I was already going to go on to my rant. Matt, if I had to ask you, is there a movie which really cemented your love for like movies and this kind of industry?
As in general or specifically satire?
No, any movie.
Any movie. I can tell you the first film I can remember seeing at the cinema.
Which was?
It was the Flintstones movie.
with John Goodman.
With John Goodman as Fred, exactly. Yeah. That was the first film I can remember seeing.
To be fair, it's an appropriate movie because the movies I heard on the first episode between Joe and Franco, it's like the most mature of movies, and they're like, oh, I watched that when I was 11 and 12.
Well, no. I did not watch any good films until well into my probably teens. I don't know. Like I can tell you like my favorite film of all time, which is In Bruges.
Okay,
very good, solid choice.
bit of a niche one there, but I think it's of the films that I think it's the one I've watched the most.
With film buffs, it's not a quite niche in Bruges, especially with Banshees of Inisherin.
I'd say it's quite well known and respected amongst people that.
Well, I like to consider myself a connoisseur.
And wines.
I always blank when people. Obviously, like the Monty Python films were a big influence on me. Life of Brian, Holy Grail, Meaning of Life, which is often panned a bit by critics, but I think is a very funny film.
Just a little bit of mint.
And it does have parallels with one of the films we are discussing today, in fact.
Okay. By the way, guys, quick update. This week was a special week for me.
Go on.
I wonder if anyone here knows why.
Did you finish Willow finally?
Yes, correct, Joe. I finished Willow. So, Matt, I don't know if you were aware of a particular series which comes out on Disney Plus every week. This week was the final week, called Willow.
Okay, no, I
watched the original
I'm
movie?
not familiar.
So basically, this is one of the worst series I've ever watched, but I've trudged through and completed the whole thing. 8 episodes long, 50 minutes every episode, basically. And I watched the final episode this week, and it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be with regard to a final episode. The action was decent, and the special effects, there was some magic special effects, which were really not that bad. So, I mean, I didn't hate it. Let's put it that way. That's Willow. I was just watching The Last of Us.
I need to. I think after we're done with this, I will watch that. It's legally downloaded.
Stop misusing electronic devices.
Oh shit! Fuck. Not a great time to admit that.
No.
You heard nothing, multi police and multi security services who are currently watching this. Was might okay.
Well,
A bit of a Jedi mind trick there on the.
But yeah, that was my week. I had a bit of drama. You might have heard.
Yeah,
last Friday.
We heard.
I won't comment about it on the podcast
yet.
Not, so as not to add personal issues onto the podcast. But yeah, I had a bit of drama. We'll see how that gets solved. Maybe I'll comment about it next week when we get the.
Are you also being taken to court?
So far, I have. So far, I'm not. Let's put it that way. I might take them to court. The way this thing is developing. No, of course I won't. I have stuff to do.
Sounds exciting.
Shall we get into the news, guys, then? Because we got a lot of news items. So, this week, we're going to split this episode into 3 segments. First segment, we're going to be talking about some news items that came up this week. Quite a few, actually. We have like 9. Some awards business to talk about. It's award season, of course. Then we're going to be asking Matt a few questions and get a discussion going on humor and satire and in general, not just focused on movies. And finally, like Franco mentioned at the start, we have a few movies to talk about and discuss and review together, all dealing with kind of like satire and social commentary and so on. But let's start off with the first news item. And earlier last week, there was a Matt Reeves interview with Collider. And first of all, this we already knew, but director Matt Reeves confirmed that he's still working on a sequel for the Batman. As many of you, I'm sure, know, DC have been going through some big changes. So Reeves gave away new details also about the Penguin series, which is a particular series I'm really looking forward to, starring obviously Colin Farrell. And he revealed how the HBO Max miniseries would be essential in setting up the Batman sequel. We're going to have Colin Farrell on that. We're going to have John Turturro on that. So it's going to be a very decent cast. Also, Matt Reeves revealed that later on this week, he'll be having a meeting with new co-heads of DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran. Probably by the time this episode is published, that meeting will already have taken place. Apologies, we can't travel in time. But I'm sure we'll get positive news about future Matt Reeves projects dealing with the Batman. Joe, would you like to start commenting on this? I know you really enjoyed the Batman.
I think it's good that he's continuing to write. And just to be kind of brief, I think, despite how much I like James Gunn and decisions he makes, I don't think he's going to do anything to interfere with the production of the Batman. I think the results showed for themselves when the Batman released of how popular it was and how well it did. I think they're just going to leave that be. I think they're going to kind of tackle different superheroes first. Like, I mean, James Gunn has said he wants to take on Superman and kind of get that sorted out. So yeah, I think it will bear fruit. I think they'll go ahead with the series if it's integral to the film, which is good for us, Matt Reeves, doing more things. I think it'd be really stupid just from like an art point of view and just from a popularity point of view if they just went, yeah, we're cancelling the Batman and the TV series now. I think a lot of people would be very upset, like more upset than they already are about certain things being cancelled. Yeah.
Matt, did you watch the Matt Reeves Batman?
I have not. Which one? I'm kind of... to be honest, I stopped at Christian Bale, to be honest. I haven't seen any of the subsequent Batmen.
Not even Batfleck?
Not even Batfleck, no.
Oh, no.
You can afford to skip Batfleck.
With superhero films, I had to dip in and out. It's like, I tend to zone out a bit with superhero films, to be honest.
A man after my own heart.
Mortal! Franco, any comments about this?
Eglifucci. No. No, I think it's good. James Gunn, like I said, he knows what he's doing. He said, in no uncertain terms, fuck the fans, but in essence that he knows how to respect the source material as well, especially with how well Reeves Batman went. It's a good decision at the end of the day, I'm not going to interfere, and most probably it was a good project. Moving forward, not much to say except let's see what's going up next, especially with Colin Farrell as the Penguin as well. Again,
with regard to the Batman, I was expecting to hear some awards talk for it, especially for the music. I was surprised it wasn't mentioned in any of the awards. The soundtrack was
incredible,
special.
But I feel like it came out at the wrong time of year to be relevant for the awards. People only really care about soundtracks that came out now in the last 4 months or so. So
yeah,
might it not get like costume design or production design? Don't you think?
It could get one of the smaller categories that no one watches or cares about, but still good for the film. But yeah,
no, they said they're gonna show every single award being given this time. That's
I know, but that would be for the person that watches it at home, not that I do. I imagine that's when they decide to go and take a piss or a shit when those awards come on.
Some Oscars are overrated, so I'm not. Speaking of awards now.
Speaking of awards, we had the Golden Globes last week, and let's talk about them. So let's start off with the least interesting one. So I scrolled all the way to the bottom.
So all of them are the least interesting.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to start off with Best Actress in a TV Series Drama. And for this award, we had Emma Darcy, House of the Dragon, Laura Linney in Ozark, Imelda Staunton in The Crown, Hilary Swank, Alaska Daily, and the winner was Zendaya in Euphoria. Has anyone watched Euphoria?
I'm a very big fan.
I think it's good if we just mentioned the winners. And Euphoria, it's well filmed, but again, I have some...
It's disgusting. It's total like exploitation of like what are meant to be teenagers, but it's really entertaining.
That's the word that was teen-sploitation, quasi teen-sploitation.
Yeah, it definitely is, but like can we just grow up and just admit that like it's a TV show and these people are adults and they're acting?
Yeah. But to be fair, Zendaya has the look of a young teenager.
Yeah, no, yes, most of the ones in the show do, but like Euphoria is teenage life in America if teenage life was injected with adrenaline and ketamine. Like, it's insane. Not a second of it is realistic at all. but that's also kind of the best thing about it, in my opinion.
And uncontrolled hormones. Yeah, it is. They say it is a very gothic tale, to the point that even Velma, the Scooby-Doo remake,
oh god,
apparently ripped the storyline from it as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just saw the headlines again. Can't comment as well. I mean, we have he's gonna comment now because
yeah, we have the guy that watches fucking Velma instead of the Empty Man when it's right there.
Oh yeah, that was the film that completely of my own accord asked you to watch the other week, wasn't it? Have you watched it yet?
Still haven't watched it though.
No. Series or cartoon? I don't know.
But no, he decided to finish Willow and start Velma instead of watching The Empty Man.
Yep.
And then he complains about how much time he doesn't have to watch things.
Mushek.
I was trying to remember, like, to make a reference to it. I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that film called or whatever?
Nobody remembers about this movie. I'm going to be honest. Anytime I'm thinking about a movie to watch, I literally just vanishes from my brain.
We might say your brain empties, much like the empty man.
Oh, just
Next award, Best Actor in a Movie. I don't know why Best Actor in a Movie is right after Best Actress in a TV Series, but there we go. Drama, Austin Butler, Elvis is the winner. Joe, as the biggest Elvis fan here, what is your reaction to that?
Let me just state that Austin Butler's acceptance speech was great and hilarious at the same time. Great because like he did say some nice things to people, and I do quite like a good speech. Hilarious because why the fuck is he still doing the Elvis voice? Because this guy is sounding like he's from Memphis when he's from fucking Anaheim, California. They're not the same. And I've seen him in interviews before, and he doesn't normally sound like that.
Side effects of method acting,
I guess. But like, it's been a year since they finished that film. Get over it.
But he spent 3 years doing that accent and inhabiting the character.
And again, this is the problem I have with the Golden Globes, apart from them being like the worst of these award shows that there are, is why does a film which is filled with music and is essentially a musical, why does the actor in that film win Best Actor for Best Drama, but then Colin Farrell, who's in a great drama, wins Best Actor for Comedy or Musical? Where is the logic?
Beats me as well. I mean,
I don't know, Andrea. You're not going to get much out of me at the Golden Globes. I'm not a fan of them. I'm happy that some people that I do like Jennifer Coolidge winning. That's great. I'm the only person in the world that apparently watches The White Lotus. Jeremy Allen White winning for The Bear, also very good. But
Michelle Yeoh, Ki Hae Kwan.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, Ki Hae Kwan.
We'll get into
to see him do anything is nice. So
yes. Everything Everywhere at Once went good, right? Was very Andrea.
Yeah, did very good. Very good. No, I won't criticize Everything Everywhere at Once, and I liked it. I just didn't love it.
Imagine Daniel say yes to the podcast.
After 5 minutes of listening to me, I don't think they will want to. Matt, did you watch Elvis by any chance?
I have not. I'm not really a fan of musicals, to be honest. So yes. What did I watch? No, but that was a Maltese theatre production. Just I think technically a musical. In Theatre Total Miskin. Excellent, but yeah, I digress.
Then we had the Best Animated Film, also known as the Pinocchio Award, obviously won by Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. We already commented about that, so we can skip that. I think it's a well-deserved win. I still have to watch Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, though. I'm interested in watching that. Then Best Actress, Michelle Yeoh, I think didn't have a lot of competition, to be fair, in this section. I think Michelle Yeoh is a well-deserved winner.
So I'm saying Anya Taylor-Joy there as well. Anya Taylor-Joy was quite good in the venue.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy. But I think Michelle
Yeoh hands down. That's true.
Hands down. For this.
Sausage hands down.
Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy, Colin Farrell wins that. And again, I think he had little to no Ralph Fiennes, maybe, The Menu.
Adam Driver as well. That's the only good thing that was in White Noise.
Yeah, the driver was
spoiler alert.
Caught him fairly good.
Franco firing the shots early on.
Spoiler alert.
We've got Best Actor in a TV Series. All right, you guys watched The Bear.
I love The Bear.
Yeah.
Jeremy Allen White,
my boy Jeremy.
won Best Actor in a TV Series.
My
More
boy.
power to him.
And season 2 coming out. When is it coming out? It's just
In summer.
Yeah, this summer. I will
Have you
definitely watch that 3 times.
Have you checked it out yet, Andrea? Or
No, I haven't.
okay, watch
Try to get onto it.
Velma.
I feel like I should
Best
watch
Original Song.
Velma, like take a couple of minutes out and just watch a trailer or something, because
Ironically,
I feel like I'm missing out here. Some
No, don't do
you
it.
do not give me
Don't do it,
permission
don't do it.
to leave, and
No, Matt. For your own sanity, please
For
avoid
context, Matt, the new Velma animated series is one of the lowest ever rated series on Rotten Tomatoes in their history. It's currently sitting at 7%, I think.
wow. I mean, this piques my
worse
curiosity,
than
to be
that.
honest.
It deserves a negative score. I'm going to be honest. I'm not exaggerating by how bad it is. Like I can watch Willow. I've watched the worst of the worst, and this is taking the cake, and by far, this is really bad. I'm not
Jinkies.
exaggerating how bad it is.
Zoinks. They said it's a series that's zoinks.
Best original score, Babylon. Curious about Babylon having a really good score.
I might go see that this week.
We are gonna try and watch it this coming weekend as well. Abbott Elementary, Tyler James Williams takes Best Supporting Actor in a TV Series. No one watched that. Angela Bassett takes Best Supporting Actress. She had a very good performance in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Although I wouldn't say she was as good as Kerry Condon, though. Kerry Condon in The Banshees was
Kerry Condon is
really good.
incredible in Banshees. I mean, I haven't seen
No.
Black Panther, but
Wait, Anka Dolly De Leon? Dolly De Leon was the one good thing of Triangle of Sadness.
And even Kerry Mulligan. Kerry Mulligan, and she said was very good. It was very good. I mean, Angela Bassett had a very high, she's in Black Panther, and her role was like the center focus of all the advertising for this movie. So I'm guessing they pushed her a lot for the awards. I think she's reaping, and she gives a good performance. To be fair, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she had a bad performance or anything. Best Supporting Actor, Ki Hui Kwan, Everything Ever All at Once. I think that was quite an obvious win as well. Best Supporting Actress in a TV Series is Julia Garner, Ozark. Anyone a fan of Ozark here?
I tried to watch the first series, but didn't really get into it.
There was probably some of our listeners out there, which actually we have to do a bit of a call.
Hey, I always forget. I get onto business at once. I worry about the timing, man. I'm a teacher.
No. but for example, with these kind of news, we could have like people leaving comments on the YouTube channel, and please do follow us, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Grindr, Tinder, Bumble.
Only for yourself. I just run the TikTok. I don't know about the other channels.
They've left you out here.
But honestly, guys, leave us a like and comment and subscribe so that we can
Swipe right.
exactly swipe right on this podcast.
Continue growing. Let's hope so. Best Actress. I think this is an obvious one. Although I was surprised. I read that Kate Blanchett didn't take the Best Actress in a Drama in the Critics Awards. But anyways, Kate Blanchett won Best Actress in a Drama for Tar. I think that was
Satire on us.
Makes sense.
well deserved.
Makes sense.
Surprise, surprise. Best non-English language film is Argentina 1985 and not RRR. I was expecting RRR to carry all the best non-English language film
I was
awards.
expecting All Quiet on the Western Front.
There's also Decision to Leave. Okay.
I love Decision to Leave. It is in number 3. I'm not expecting it to make much of a splash in the award season.
Decision to Leave maybe Oscar. Who knows?
I think RRR is quite hot right now. But Argentina 1985 is also very, very hot. I mean, it won the Golden Globe, so yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I still have to watch it. Steven Spielberg wins.
You still have to also.
Both. I still haven't watched both RRR and Argentina 1985 from this list.
3 hours of crazy fun. You have to let it operate on its own terms. And I have to watch Argentina 1985, especially with my love for political movies.
I try to get into these like Bollywood movies, but so there's something about them that just puts me off. Are you a fan, Matt?
Hollywood?
Of like Bollywood?
Nah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Just,
I have no opinion. Like, I have not, to be honest, I haven't watched any. Like, I don't know. There was one, I'm not sure, because I think we guys discussed it, because I wasn't here while Franco was doing his appearance. His podcasting the other week, but I think there was one in particular. It was about these two brothers or something, and they like fighting the British Empire or something like that. I think I have a feeling you guys discussed it because I overheard. I eavesdropped.
Brothers
doesn't
ring a bell, but
or
it
not
sounds
brothers,
cool.
maybe friends. I don't know. It looks over the top as fuck.
RRR.
Oh, that's our.
It's a pirate.
I've only ever watched Bahubali, and that was also 3 hours of
That's
craziness.
That's by the same director, eh?
Okay,
so it makes sense.
I might do it. I like the Bahubali films. They're fucking wild.
Rajamouli, وشك SS Rajamouli.
It looks crazy. It looks bloody crazy. I think it's too much for me, to be honest. 3 hours of all that craziness.
Imagine everything everywhere at once, but spread out over 3 hours, basically. No.
Lord, no, I can't do that.
Everything.
Best limited series was taken by The White Lotus, Sicily.
Hell yeah.
Joe, you watched The White Lotus,
I love
right?
The White Lotus. I want to live in The White Lotus. Unfortunately, I live in Glasgow instead. I feel like I'm the only person I know that watches The White Lotus. Apparently it's very big in the States, but it's very good, guys. It's very, very good.
I've been recommended it, and it's definitely towards the top of my list because different people have recommended it.
Yeah.
Very high praise. So, yeah, it's
very good. Very, very easy to watch.
So then we had Abbott Elementary winning Best TV Series, Musical or Comedy. Wow, this is getting a lot of awards, Abbott Elementary.
Why not The Bear, man? The Bear was great.
I have to watch this.
Bear was fantastic.
The Bear, there was Wednesday also nominated. I haven't watched The Bear. I can't comment about that. Definitely Wednesday doesn't deserve to win Best TV Series, Musical
Elementary.
But that way. Joe,
hit me.
Do you know who won Best TV Series Drama?
Don't. Because this is one of the reasons why I fucking hate the Golden Globes. Because they pull bullshit like this all the time. And it's bullshit of the highest order. And it will not stand. Just move on. We're not talking about it. Go to the next one. I refuse.
So, Rings of Power did not win Best TV Series
Drama. It was never going to. I never said the Rings of Power. It's like the best thing this year. But like, if anything's going to win fucking Best TV Drama, where's Barry, for example?
No, to be fair, listen, there is Better Call Saul in this list. There is The Crown.
Yeah.
Ozark I don't watch, but I know it's very good. And Severance, which was my favorite series, I think,
if
of the whole
anything
year.
should have won from this list, and I haven't even watched it, but just going off the reaction from critics and its fans, Better Call Saul should have been...
Or Horse.
Yeah, Better Call Saul.
The absolute one.
Definitely.
Anka Severance. How's about that?
Severance was brilliant. Severance was brilliantly written. It was excellent.
House of fucking...
But yeah, by the way, guys, in case you're listening, you might be wondering which series won. It's House of the Dragon won Best TV Series Drama.
House of bad CGI and nothing happening.
I think both Severance and Better Call Saul deserved the win here. Better Call Saul is... I don't get why Better Call Saul has not won any of the Golden Globes awards. But it's some of the best seasons of television. In my opinion, like we discussed, I think, was it last week we discussed it? I think we discussed it last week. Better than Breaking Bad, in my opinion.
Here's the thing about the Golden Globes. They're run by Comcast currently because they air on NBC. So a lot of people say that like the whole theory is that anything that NBC is kind of connected to, they tend to choose those people to win. And to my knowledge, AMC, which is responsible, is AMC responsible? No, Netflix is responsible for Better Call Saul, isn't it?
I think Netflix are just are not producing it. AMC are producing it, right?
Because they've got no ties to Comcast, so that could be a reason why they've got a bit less favor. If you look at it, HBO shows always do well at the Golden Globes. White Lotus is HBO. House of Dragon is somehow by HBO. So yeah, could be that the House of Dragon is the nepo baby of the Golden Globes.
Interesting.
Which would make sense considering that show is filled with babies.
Yeah, there are a lot of babies in that.
Very many nepo babies over there for sure.
Yes,
nepo baby shows. House of Nepo Babies.
Big Two, Best Film, Musical or Comedy, was won by The Banshees of Inisherin. I don't think it had any competition in this. Maybe Triangle of Sadness.
I did love the musical numbers in that film. I did love the musical numbers in that film. That qualified for musical.
Yeah. Without sorry, no spoilers. When he was playing with the violin, yeah.
And for Best Film Drama was won by The Fabelmans. Again, I think maybe Tar. There's a bit of competition here, but yeah, I think Fabelmans definitely deserved it. Franco, what do you think about Fabelmans winning Best Film Drama, not Tar?
But honestly, I would have preferred Tar to win Best Film Drama. Fabelmans had some issues, especially with its sentimentality. I mean, I enjoyed it. I let the sentimentality go over my head. I didn't mind it. But Tar, I think it was much more the deserved winner over here. But Tar did win another award, which was given by Martin Scorsese. I forgot, it was a New York something. I don't know if it was the Spirit Awards. And he had high praises for it with Tar. And usually Scorsese doesn't go off his mark, especially with his comments on Pearl too. So there's that.
Okay, Matt, by any chance, have you watched The Fabelmans?
I have not. Hadn't heard of it, actually.
It's very good. It's very good. I liked it. Joe and Franco liked it a little less than me, though.
Yeah, but
I think I enjoyed all the sentimentality that Franco's talking about. I like that kind of thing.
It was in my top 10, nonetheless, really. So there's that.
Fair enough.
I liked it. I just prefer when a film respects me enough to let me think for myself rather than tell me exactly what characters are feeling by having characters say it. But that's just me.
Show, don't tell.
Yep. Number one rule.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's the Golden Globes Awards. We can move on to The Bear Season 2, getting an early summer release window. This is a series I have not yet started, but I plan to do very soon. Season 1 of the culinary comedy, which premiered last June on Hulu, only contained 8 episodes. The next season will have 10. Briefly, guys, Franco, what is The Bear about and why should people watch it?
The Bear is about a chef who's trying to save his failing restaurant. And we get to see the pressure cooker of this sandwich bar. It was a sandwich bar, right, Joe?
Yeah.
You see the pressure cooker, why the restaurant is in the red. You see how they try to keep up the business running. Great performances all around. Filming is great. It's an edge of the seat entertainment, basically. There's 20 minutes flies by like that, and I think it was very well timed. And especially there was one. Which episode was it? 6 or 7, Joe? It was made into a one cut.
7 was the one cut episode. That was initially the pilot, which they then got funding from the network for.
Nice.
That was the first episode they did.
And it was amazing.
Really fucking good. It's like,
yeah.
As you say, like it flies by. Like I watched the entire season of The Bear at least 4 times because it just goes. It's so entertaining and it's so easy to watch. And like I love cooking and the show is so good. For me, it's like a match made in heaven.
And Jeremy Allen White really deserved his win because he did a great. Yeah. He carries the series on his own.
Yeah.
And let me find the supporting actress, please. Because she deserves a mention.
I forget her name. Yeah, she's very good. But you know who I think's underrated in that show? The guy who plays the cousin who's not his cousin, Eben Moss Bacharach. Really good.
He's also in Andor, eh?
Yes, he's got a small role in Andor as well. He's really good. A lot of time for him.
Ayo Debiri. She's Sydney Adamo. She's she's an up and coming cook that decides to work in this shit place basically, but and tries to make her leave her mark on the place. Now it's highly recommended.
I like how it is not focused on like a fine dining restaurant, because these kind of shows and movies generally focus on like the high elite fine dining restaurants, and this is like just a sandwich restaurant.
Yeah, it's just comfort food.
Especially a lot of these films of the past year or so. It's a lot of fine dining and all that.
And it's based in Chicago, like in the CDS part of Chicago as well. So there's even more grittiness to it.
Yeah. It's actually quite good. I found out recently. Kitchen and the restaurant that they film is an actual Chicago sandwich shop. Like all totally authentic. Like they had spoken to the owner because he owns one of the oldest ones, and they got like the permission to film there for like as long as they want. So very, very authentic in that regard.
Interesting. I really need to start watching The Bear and not Velma. Moving on. Water is wet. But also, Francis Ford Coppola has a lot of drama on his set. News of a rocky production might not be surprising. Apparently, there are a lot of issues with Francis Ford Coppola's future upcoming Megalopolis movie, with a lot of drama surrounding the VFX team all being fired, lots of members of the creative production team being removed as well, production designer and the art director all leaving production. It's a very rocky production, apparently.
But Adam Driver denied this.
And yes, exactly. Adam Driver, well, he didn't deny them leaving. He just denied that there was a lot of drama on set. So they confirmed they left. No, that is confirmed, the fact that all these people I'm mentioning left, both the production designers and VFX team and so on. It's just he denied that there's lots of drama. And then, I mean, obviously, after Hearts of Darkness, the rumors are going to prop up about a lot of this chaos on set of another Francis Ford Coppola movie. Matt, have you watched Apocalypse Now?
Of course, yeah. Just trying to think, actually, what other Coppola films? Godfather, obviously, right?
Godfather, of course. Godfather.
All three of them.
Okay, cool. I thought I made it. Wouldn't want to look stupid on the film podcast, but anyway.
If you want his back catalogue, you could have Jack starring Robin Williams. Which somehow Francis Ford Coppola made.
Yeah, that's one thing, and most probably he's gonna.
You were referring to the chaos on the set of Apocalypse Now, right? I think
that's the one.
Yeah. Okay, that's why you mentioned that was okay. Yeah.
But Matt is gonna get us back with his knowledge of comedy TV series and You know Kunk on Earth? Andrea, Kunk on Earth? C-U-N-K, Kunk on Earth.
We mentioned it at Juvar the other day, if you remember.
Yeah. No, I haven't watched it.
Pop the jam. Even Joe doesn't know how, so...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Philomena Kunk, come on. No? Okay, go on.
But some YouTube shorts popped up after you mentioned it.
Like you'll if you're on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, then you've definitely seen Philomena Kunk in action.
And Charlie Brooker.
Charlie Brooker is in like Black Mirror. Charlie Brooker.
Yes. Because
yes, I know him. Yeah.
It's he used to do News Swipe. Actually, Matt can explain how she's connected to Brooker.
Yeah. So Charlie Brooker used to have the Newswipe show and the sort of the annual version of that, which I'm forgetting the name of, sort of like going through the year and taking the piss out of it, basically. And he had 3 characters on that show, aside from him doing the commentary. And one of them was Philomena Kunk, who is this sort of, moron. And she's commenting on serious issues. And I can't remember if in the actual TV show, if she interviewed academics. So there was Kunk on Britain, Kunk on Shakespeare, and the latest one is Kunk on Earth, which is sort of a wide strokes of history, kind of, from prehistory all the way to modern. I think it's like 6 episodes, and each one tackles a different era. It's deliberately misunderstanding things and mispronounce. It's very funny, mispronouncing things. It's height of comedy when you mispronounce words. And she basically interviews academics who, Franco, we were wondering like what the dynamic was, like how if they're trolls, these academics. It's sort of like a Borat thing, where he'll interview Sacha Baron Cohen thing where they interview. Apparently, they are just prompted. They are told that this interview is not a serious interview, and as much as possible to try and keep a straight face. So it's not like they're going into it thinking it's a serious interview.
Most of the time, the professors were giving like good, informative answers. So and it makes sense.
But you could see them. There was that and the look in their eyes of like I need to stay serious. So like, what the fuck did this person just say? Kind of.
Exactly.
But yeah, I highly recommend.
We can mention one thing: the Soviet onion.
Yes. Yeah, there's one. She asks this historian, like, "What was the Soviet onion?"
Okay, it kind of reminds me. I don't know if you would have heard. I'm sure you've heard of Tim Heidecker.
Tim and Eric.
Yes, exactly. From Tim and Eric. Something I think you'll get a kick out of, Matt, and it's a commitment. It requires commitment, this one. But basically, he had this, still has it, this show on YouTube called On Cinema at the Cinema. Where in it, it's Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington, who's also an actor. But in this On Cinema universe that they've created, because now it's an entire universe spanning, I think, 12 seasons of On Cinema at the Cinema, and also a feature film, where they play fictionalized versions of themselves as film reviewers. And the first 2 seasons, like, you could kind of look at like, these are just guys taking the piss out of movie reviewers, but it gets fucking wild from there then on. I highly recommend it if you like a very dry comedy. And it definitely is a satire at the same time, because they do take on like a lot of serious political issues throughout it as well, which involves Tim running for city councillor at one point, which he actually did.
12 seasons as well, eh?
Yeah, and a feature film, Mr. America.
Oh,
really good.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, the yearly thing that Brooker did was Death to 2020, Death to 2021.
Yeah, but he used to do it regularly before that as well.
Yeah, Newswipe.
Yeah, and
that was Newswipe.
Philomena Kang, what's her name?
Philomena.
Philomena. Yeah, she was in that as well. Death to 2020.
She would have
I remember
been,
she was like a justice.
The other character.
She was acting as like a stupid woman and being interviewed, and she's completely unaware of all the like politically incorrect things not to say and so on.
That's Philomena.
Sounds a bit Alan Partridge as well. I like that.
It is a bit. There is a bit of Partridge in there, I think.
Good. I'll definitely look that up. It sounds like I'll enjoy it.
It's a bit less subtle than Partridge, I think.
Okay.
One thing that's definitely not subtle is HBO Max's Velma, which is getting absolutely savage in reviews.
Killer segue.
What a segue.
And someone here actually went through 25 minutes of Velma to give you a report about it. Right now it is at 7%.
I'm not going to point to anyone.
You know who it is. You know, if you've watched any of our episodes of the Adler podcast, you know who suffers through these things. So right now it is at 7% average audience score, and surprisingly 55% average tomato meter.
Yeah, Collider gave a good review of it. It said it's hilarious.
Yeah, I just saw it when I was trying to enter Rotten Tomatoes, saying that it's actually funny, meta enough to be funny. No, it's not. So I watched the first 25. So 2 episodes are out. Each episode is 25 minutes. I could only struggle through one. I couldn't get through the next one, which is saying a lot. Just saying a lot about the person who struggles through literally everything. And yeah, it's not funny. It's anything but. There's a lot of very weird nudity in it, which I could not understand.
Scooby-Doo in it.
Lots of teenage.
Yeah, it's a heavy R-rated Scooby-Doo.
Oh. Is it actually R-rated?
Yep.
Because there's also, I'm interested.
I would imagine it
is. Is there like bestiality in it?
No, gore. There's some gore.
There's a lot of gore, yeah.
Okay.
Brains, heads being cut, a leg was cut as well at one point.
Did anyone want this? Is my question. Was anyone like, what I need in my life is an R-rated version of Scooby-Doo?
I honestly don't know who this was made for.
Which is not porn, eh? Let's say something. But here's one thing that I read about is like, there's a reactor on YouTube, Moist Critical, who said that's like HBO Max made this out to be some huge event. And he's like, of fucking course it's a huge event. You cancelled all the other animated shows so that you make this the biggest event of your schedule, basically. And actually, this should be our first TikTok challenge. Watch Velma challenge.
Yeah, I'm done. I can't watch anything.
What's the whole series challenge?
And then make a dance out of it, because that's how you do TikTok.
With severed limbs as well.
Yeah, I'm done, guys. Do it if you want to. 25 minutes.
We'll bring you in for the the MC Man challenge.
So that's Velma. It's very bad, guys. Please don't hate watch, because it's the most watched animated HBO series. And there's some very good animated series on HBO Max. There's not the Joker one. What's the Joker's girlfriend? Harley Quinn, which is very good apparently. I haven't watched it. I have heard lots of good things about it. It was.
I think it recently has. Yeah.
Yeah, it got cancelled.
Yeah,
Harlequin ran so that Velma can stumble.
Yeah, like a phoenix from the flames. Velma roasts.
Oh, talking about phoenixes, we have to talk about Harry Potter next. And
God, he's killing it.
I've been meaning to talk about Hogwarts Legacy for a very long time. Matt, are you
Potterhead?
So with regards to Harry Potter, I read the first 5, I think, and then watched like the first 4 films, and then sort of did what Potterheads should have done, which is basically grow up.
I'll take that as a personal affront.
Oh, I love it. Because I love it because I agree.
I got too old to find Harry Potter interesting anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's good for kids. I agree.
Am I hitting up here?
My heart is broken.
No, you've just upset. You've upset a Hufflepuff. That's what you've done.
Emotional damage.
But no, jokes aside, Matt, have you heard about the controversy with regard to J.K. Rowling?
A little bit, yeah.
Years? That's the interesting part here.
Sorry, I don't know if she's done anything lately. I know she's a bit of a... has a few controversial opinions on the trans community.
Yeah, that she does.
What's she done now?
So, I don't know if you know, but in February 10th, Hogwarts Legacy is going to come out, which is a Harry Potter game, basically. It's an open world game. Looks interesting, to be fair. It doesn't look bad at all.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty decent.
The controversy about it are obviously, as you said, the J.K. Rowling's comments about she's being accused of being very transphobic, and a lot of people are basically want everyone to boycott the game because of royals she would receive from. Any thoughts about this, guys? Franco.
Where do we draw the line? Okay, let's make a comparison with the recent allegations that have hit Andrew Callaghan. I mean, because people got hurt. People still get hurt, actually, with making transphobic comments, though, just to make it clear. But again, where do we draw the line, you know? And plus, there's also Simon Pegg involved as well in this.
He's going to be the headmaster in it. So that's an exciting piece of news about it.
But it's
positive.
So it's in the news that J.K. Rowling is gonna get the royalties. You're saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And she would have, because it's her IP.
Yeah, it's her world. They can't do anything involving Hogwarts or anything like that without her being associated to it, because she's the inventor.
I mean, the only thing, like you said, the only thing for her not to get any royalties is boycott playing the game. Which again, but what good does it do the trans community though? Just it sends a good message, but at the end of the day, like transphobia remains. And speaking of transphobia, we have someone who tried to confront with satiric comments the most transphobic person we have on the island.
Who's that there?
Michaela Bonanno.
Bonjour.
Anyway,
this is an interesting discussion, I think, because on the one hand, it's true you don't want to support someone who's transphobic. At the same time, are you really supporting J.K. Rowling by playing a video game? As in, there are lots of people working on Hogwarts Legacy who are not transphobic. Why should they get the blame as well? I mean, I'm a big Potter fan, and I'm not transphobic. So isn't just because you like something or you're working on something, dealing with the Potter world doesn't make you transphobe. At the same time, though, I don't know. I'm going to play it, mind you. Joe, are you going to play Hogwarts Legacy?
This is where I kind of oust myself as kind of leaning more towards Matt's side of I read all the Harry Potter books and I really liked them, and I really liked them because I was 14 years old. That's why I really liked them. The films, I did watch all the films because I like watching films. The best one is Prisoner of Azkaban because it's made by Alfonso Cuarón, so for obvious reasons.
It's a good film.
That's why it's a good film. Otherwise, I don't really care about Harry Potter. I actually have one of my friends is like you, very much a Potterhead, and we have this discussion all the time where he tries to, for some reason, fight me and say that Harry Potter is better than The Lord of the Rings, and I just sit there on my high horse.
No way, Joe, no way.
No, it's not.
Lord of the Rings is much better than...
I mean,
it's a much more different discussion, but I think, because looking at the game, it does look quite fun. I used to like the Harry Potter games when I was a kid. If it's
you
good...
play I think the Chamber of Secrets one I had?
Yeah, I played definitely the first 3.
The one that's been deemed quite a lot now.
Yeah.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Harry, what?
I've definitely played the first 3.
Sorry, Joe.
I think it's...
Matt, have you seen the videos of like them taking different words from the video game, with like Snape, for example, and them turning it into
the audiobooks? You mean? I think.
No, it's taken from the video game. I don't know. And then I think they edit it with some AI and whatnot, and then they turn it into like something really dirty, like Snape.
I think it's the audiobook stuff.
Is it? I don't know. I saw them. I see them.
But yes, I am familiar. Yeah. They were very. That was like early YouTube, right? I think those would have been made.
You're thinking about that one, the
Potter Pals. Potter
Leviosa.
No, that's something else. I know
that's a whole puppet show.
But yes, I'm fairly sure the one that you're talking about, where they like take the words and sort of mash them up, it is from the audiobooks, because I think there's a Stephen Fry one, and I know he narrated one or more of the Harry Potter books.
So then they must edit them onto the video game and make it look like the video game characters.
Yeah, I think that might be and then they use the animations from the video game, I think. Probably.
Exactly, and they're hilarious.
There's a very similar thing. I mean, it's not filming, it's like, I'm going off a tangent, but there's a similar thing with Nigella Lawson videos. The chef, Nigella Lawson, who, when she's doing her, cooking shows, she puts quite a lot of innuendo anyway in there. And it needs to been edited into something like completely filthy. It's hilarious.
Very good.
I'm a very big fan. Like, that kind of trend kind of stopped of sort of stitching audio together. I think it needs to make supposed to do like Prince Harry's book. Although, to be honest, that sounds, from what I've heard, we edited this off already.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's our Harry Potter discussion done and dusted. Final thing we had to mention today. I'm just going to pass a quick comment about this. Last of Us is finally out, as I mentioned at the start, and it's very good. Go and watch it after this episode. It's brilliant. And let us know in the comment section below what you think about the first episode of The Last of Us. Personally, the first 4 to 5 minutes were brilliant, and just like with the video game, it made me cry. Moving on. Yeah, it did. I think The Last of Us is one of the 1 or 2 games. No, actually, I think just the only game that actually made me cry with what happens in the story and so on.
Yeah, the second one left me emotionally exhausted, I think.
The ending.
Just the whole game. It's just, you just feel like, oh my God, I need some poppies.
All right, guys, so that's the news done and dusted. And now we're going to move on to our interview with Matt, and we're going to be discussing humor. In general, we're not going to be focusing on movies too much in this section, and let's get into it. So, Matt, first question for you. when it comes to censorship and humor, what's your stance?
No censorship on humor. Okay.
At all, 0%, nothing at all.
No, I mean, in general, there should be absolutely minimal censorship in general, because otherwise I think you end up with a bit of a slippery slope and you just end up curtailing freedom of speech too much, I think. That's especially, I would say, towards the arts, towards cinema, comedy, painter art, whatever. I think you should just leave it up to people, really, to make their own judgments and let them. I think the problem is with too much censorship is with regard to creative stuff is you're kind of treating people like idiots, basically. Just let people come to their own judgments and let the society decide, basically. I think society, more or less, a lot of the time makes, maybe not all the time, but makes good decisions. It can think for itself, kind of.
But aren't we seeing a lot of, I would say, stupidity in certain comments? For example, you're giving too much trust. By the way, I agree with what you said, but I'm always giving this like the devil's advocate side of the question. So sometimes I read some comments underneath your articles where it's like, is this guy for real? Like, doesn't he know that don't they know that this is a satiric article? It's not true, especially it's the whole debacle that's surrounding your being taken to court, actually, right?
I've been asked this in interviews in recent days, and whether Maltese people are ready for satire and whether they understand satire. I think we do. I think the problem is not that we as a nation don't understand satire, it's that we haven't been exposed to it a lot, especially the older, these comments that you're mentioning, generally speaking, the ones on Bis-Serjeta that are like, they think story's real, or, the infamous in bad taste comment, which is my favorite one by far. It's generally the older generation, if we're honest. And it's just that I think in Malta as well, there's a bit of a sizable generational gap as well in between, like younger people, maybe like my generation and the younger. We're just exposed to so much that older people are. And our world, our universe is so much wider than theirs. Obviously, not all older people, that would be generalizing, but you see these comments sometimes and I think, lalo, how parochial is the word. It's very parochial, sort of like you start thinking like, have these people ever left their village?
Listen, right
have
now,
they watched TV in the past 20 years?
Right now, me and Franco are in Hal Safi, so.
Well, there you go. I'm in a jar, so I'm not exactly bustling metropolis either.
Please make sure you carpet bomb Bujimba, not Hal Safi, for now.
I am not commenting on any potential targets for operational security as much as anything else.
I was going to say though, Matt, like you say, like these people haven't watched television the last 20 years. Satire in like, especially like film media, goes back way longer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I go to one of my favorite films of all time, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, is an incredible satirical film, and that came out in 1967.
Quick trivia,
I think
68, something like that.
Quick trivia.
Franco trivia. Let's go.
Apparently, Alex Jones of Infowars.
I'm familiar.
His background is from Doctor Strangelove, the studio background. It's.
Oh, I thought you meant like his CV.
No.
He was
the baby of Doctor Strangelove. Well, I don't know if there's a baby. I'm just...
No, but most probably he's the one in the wheelchair saying that he's not a Nazi.
I believe that's Peter Sellers, but anyway.
Yeah, Peter Sellers. No, but his background, like there's this war room. I'm like, I've seen this somewhere before. It is from Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah, I guess I made the connection because like it's in black and white.
What's the quote of the war room? Like, gentlemen,
there's no fighting in here. This is the war room.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
To kind of argue against myself a bit and kind of to piggyback on what you're saying, Joe, is it's strange that, and I've written about this on my own Facebook. Maltese people, we've been exposed to British comedies for generations, and I remember, when I was young in the 90s, there was Fawlty Towers, LOLO, Keeping Up Appearances, which is not great, but, still...
Mind Your Language is one of the most mentioned, at least in my family.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with that one. As in, I know of it. Like, I can't say that I've watched it.
There's actually one of the actors lives in Gozo now. One of the actors of that series, Mind Your Language, lives in Gozo.
Franco trivia. Yeah.
Billy Collins.
You have a jingle for I think you guys need a jingle for Franco trivia.
Yeah.
That's a good.
We definitely do.
Franco trivia. There you go.
We have the sound bite.
We got it
now. So I do wonder, like, maybe it's just when it's about us. I think as a nation as well, we struggle a bit with taking ourselves too seriously and laughing at ourselves. And I think that's a bit of a post-colonial hang-up of sort of, if you get it, this thing, like if you sort of take the piss out of someone. Now, obviously on Bis-Serjeta, I don't take the piss out of just anyone. I take the piss out of people in power. But there's this idea, picking on them. And
would you say we lack self-awareness
as
a nation?
I mean, even in terms of, I think we have a vastly over-inflated sense of ego. Well, some people have, it's an ego thing, and some people have an overinflated sense of their importance, shall we say? Pompous is the word I'm looking for.
A Chihuahua complex, basically. The smaller they are, the more they bark.
Absolutely.
But on this subject, Matt, so I, back in the university, I had a unit in English on post-colonial society and how, like, the colonizer used literature and so on.
I think I had the same one.
Ooh, okay.
Post-colonial novel, was it?
Yeah. So you were talking about like how some people have an ego and so on. But I think sometimes the issue is also quite the opposite. We have, given our post-colonial mentality, we tend to have a very low self-esteem with regard to how we look at our country. So the slightest sound of any kind of either humor targeted at our country or any kind of criticism, boom, we overreact.
Especially if it's by a foreigner. Oh boy.
No. Oh.
Boy, howdy, you do not want to be a foreigner. Yeah, no, is that. And I sometimes understand that, if someone's moved here and all they do is complain, what the fuck are you here, I think go back to your country, while generally xenophobic, is sometimes justified. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a bit of a... I think about it a lot.
That's another soundbite to be taken out of context.
Go back to your country is justified. Matt Bonanno, cancel.
Gonna give you the Lydia Tarr treatment.
Yes, I will botch the editing.
Matt, did you watch Star, by the way? Because Joe mentioned.
No, it's another one that's on my list.
Watch it. It's really good.
Franco has drilled it. I think I tried. Yeah, the version I watched legally was of low quality, so I had to watch something else instead.
So when I asked you the question about humor and censorship, obviously I was hinting a little towards like racism in humor and so on, because that's a big topic of discussion in America right now. And right now, another big topic of discussion, leaning into the movies now, are what do we do with all these like old racist movies? So in your opinion, is there a solution, something we can do about all these movies with all this like racist imagery and commentary and so on?
Yeah, again, I think they shouldn't be removed from the public domain. Really, I think they should be, and I think a lot of platforms are doing this, where they'll put like a disclaimer at the start of the film saying, this, what you're about to see contains racist tropes, racist stereotypes, which would have been common for the time, and we choose to show it. I think it's educational, to be honest. I know, like, in terms of literature, one that often comes up is Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain.
Yeah.
And that is an anti-racist novel. But a lot of people want to remove it from the schools and libraries and what have you. Obviously, it contains the N-word and other racist shit, but it is. You can't call Mark Twain a racist. That'll never be.
And we can mention an even more recent example with Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Django Unchained.
Remind me what the controversy was or what?
No, because Django Unchained, the N-word is used a lot by white characters.
Yeah.
But it was, you could see that it was a... Mm-hmm.
It's authentic for its time. You have to be, but you can't not say that in a film about the slave trade.
That's one thing, and it's clear. It's plus the central hero. You couldn't celebrate a black hero that much. But again, the controversy then surrounded that it was Quentin Tarantino the movie. But then again, he's one of the mainstay in the cinema pantheon now. You know what I mean? By the way, Matt Bonanno, the disclaimer that he mentioned is being used by the TCM network. This TCM network, basically, that was with what happened with that.
Gone with the Wind, I feel.
Yeah, Gone with the Wind, exactly. What they did, TCM was removed Gone with the Wind and other movies, and then there was some backlash, and they just reinstated them, and with a disclaimer before the film movie starts. I always quote Spike Lee on this, because Spike Lee, in his when he went to film school, they used to show them Birth of a Nation.
Yeah,
I was going to mention that as well.
They showed it to us at University of Malta as well. They showed it to us at University of Malta as well.
With Catania.
Good old Salvo.
D.W. Griffiths. D.W. Griffiths, right?
Good old Salvo. Hope you're well.
Okay, D.W. Griffith. There's also Leni Riefenstahl. Leni Riefenstahl is also like she's respected as a filmmaker, but she was a fucking Nazi.
Bit of a Nazi.
Just a bit.
Bit of a Nazi.
Yes, as sprinkle of Nazism already.
Well, I'm thinking of another Tarantino film actually. Inglourious Basterds, obviously.
Inglourious Basterds.
That was another. I think there was a lot of controversy around it because of the whole
Pulp Fiction
Hitler thing.
Pulp Fiction as well. Pulp Fiction. There was when he's the guy who basically cleans up their car, and he says,
"Yeah,
do you think
Winston Wolfe?
Well,
yeah.
Have you?
I think. So I just think it's weird that it seems like society nowadays. So I just think it's weird kind of want to bury our history and forget about it, and we don't want to give the benefit of the doubt to that society is ever changing and people are ever changing. And I feel like what Matt said, I completely agree. We kind of just have to acknowledge it and go like, look, fucking we've changed and so has society, so these things shouldn't be removed, but I agree with the disclaimer. If you're going to watch Gone with the Wind, disclaimer comes up first thing, look, this is a product of its time and so are its depictions and its views, and that's that. And I think that's actually how we learn from our history. I don't think we learn anything by burying it and forgetting it exists. It's why I don't agree with any notions of cancel culture, because what are we going to learn by completely shunning someone and not trying to educate and rehabilitate?
Plus, the problem with canceling things, when you make something banned, people tend to search for it more. You know,
yes,
it happened
absolutely.
So if it worked the other way around, when right wingers used to ban and censor left socialist literature, people used to buy more socialist literature and try to find it. So I don't think that the reverse won't work as well.
Yeah.
And again, because this guy put me down a Hasanabi hole. I know that sounds bad, sorry. But Hasanabi said as well, like, what was it? That they removed someone from a platform, they deplatformed him, and he became even more famous. I think Andrew Tate is one of them. And
yeah, he's definitely trending now because of all that shit that's gone down.
Exactly. I mean, somehow these cockroaches will return.
It is a tough one because do I think someone like Andrew Tate should have a platform? No, not really. But and then, as you're saying, like someone like Andrew Tate as well, he specifically, part of his shtick was the Hustlers University or whatever it was. His little course was getting his minions, his disciples, to share the shit out of his videos, and I don't know. It's censorship is and it's a tough one because, like I'm saying, I don't do, even in terms of freedom of speech. Like, do I want to live in a society where people can go around saying transphobic and racist and homophobic stuff? Not really, but I think it maybe should be up to society to decide what we do. I'm a big fan of like public shaming, to be honest, as well. Like we just like bring fines in prison and all that. Just like shaming. Like you're a dickhead.
Yeah,
shame.
Yeah, I think like, there's also a problem that these kind of figures first they spew their shit, and then they expect no one to confront them about it. No one to
that's also a big problem.
One thing. And I have to say, much of the liberal media basically gave them the weapons.
Yeah.
Like if they don't, like, the right wing can weaponize like SJWs and
haven't had that one in a while.
But basically that's what happened. There was no reasonable, almost cold, unemotional debate with these kind of people. And because when you debate them, you can poke holes into their reasoning. They are all just snake oil salesmen. But no, is it a question of too little too late? Do you think satire can be the one that saves us all from this right-wing dystopia?
Pressure. You can't see his cape hanging in the background in his wardrobe.
That's my underpants that I wear over my leggings.
He had a mop to clean up the scum of society, basically.
No, I mean, satire, one of the best definitions that I've ever heard of satire is that satire comforts the afflicted and afflicts the comfortable, which is, I think, a very nice, pithy way of putting it. And the more traditional definition is, satire punches up.
Yeah.
And speaking truth to power. Now, do I think I speak truth? No, it's just my opinions and some jokes. But, I mean, then again, a lot of people agree with it, and a lot of people share it, a lot of people find it funny, so...
Again, guys, leave a comment under our YouTube video. Tell us what you think as well. I wanted to ask, by the way, since obviously we're a film podcast, do you have any favorite satire movies? We mentioned Monty Python, but since we're basically going to discuss satire movies, do you have any that you would suggest? And maybe that they're still memorable for you?
So in recent times, I would say The Death of Stalin is excellent. Probably the best satirical film of the past 10 years, I would say.
I would love a rewatch and show it to my father as well, most probably. He's going to love it.
It's great. It is definitely a rewatchable film. Coen Brothers, big fan of those guys.
You mean
Burn After Reading was a good satire from the Coen Brothers.
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a while, and I can't remember a lot of details of the film. I do remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
I recently watched this. It was a bit of a gap in my sort of satirical film knowledge. District 9, which was hilarious. There's a few.
We mentioned it last time, in fact, for Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah. Have you seen In the Loop, Matt? That's also
of course.
from...
Yeah. Armando Iannucci is another.
Yeah, he's
another
fantastic.
favorite of mine. In the Loop is a nice little sort of distillation of what Armando Iannucci and sort of the thick of it.
Yeah, the thick of it's British. Fantastic.
Yeah, I forgot Veep actually. Come to think.
Yeah, it sounds really xenophobic, but I tried Veep, too American. when you go from the thick of it and In the Loop, and like how inherently British that is, and I find that funny having grown up on British comedies of the 90s.
I
couldn't do Veep.
Same here. I tried Veep, and like you said, too American.
Sounds so post-colonial of us. Britain first.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Well, it's like I'm a big fan of the Cornetto trilogy. Well, the first two, to be honest. The third, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. The third one, didn't really enjoy it, but first two are fantastic, especially in terms. When I'm trying to sort of think about which one I preferred more, Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, I like to think that Shaun of the Dead is a better satire and Hot Fuzz is the better. It's fun. It's got one last a minute, so it's a funnier comedy. But I think Shaun of the Dead is a fantastic satire as well.
Why do you consider satire? Doesn't it operate more as a parody, so to speak, of horror?
Well, parody is a form of satire. It satirizes the satirical message of Shaun of the Dead, or one of them anyway, is how we're all kind of we all act like mindless zombies anyway. I mean, that's both the opening and the closing of the film is, he's going around. He goes to the shop and he doesn't realize that everyone's a zombie, and he's just sort of in his sort of routine. And the end of the film is everyone's a zombie, and sort of life is sort of carries on. Everyone's in the supermarket and walking in the street or what have you. So I think it definitely is a satire as well. Hot Fuzz is also a satire. It's a satire of sort of British rural life. And what's the third one? Is World's End.
No?
World's End. Yeah, it's also a satire, I guess, but it's about growing up and sort of maturity and all that. I didn't enjoy that one so much though. I think it's because for me the dynamic of Simon Pegg as the idiot. Sorry, Simon Pegg is the everyman and Nick Frost as the idiot worked, whereas in the third one they kind of flipped it around. Yeah, Simon Pegg's the idiot, Nick Frost is the normal guy, and the dynamic didn't really work for me, to be honest.
Okay, say imagine you are a movie director and you say, okay, I want to do a movie. What would be the movie that you'd have wanted to direct? And said like, that was an idea I had and you saw it on your screen, for example. Or a TV series, just in case.
That's a good question, but one that I'm not sure I have the answers. I like the sort of in Bruges, as I mentioned, sort of like the idea of it's that sort of taking the idea of, I think Martin McDonagh himself said, so like the two characters, Ray and can't remember the other one. Ray is Colin Farrell and
I can't remember the names.
Bernard Gleeson.
They're sort of, Martin McDonagh said they're the two sides of him when he goes abroad. One side wants to sort of party and have fun, and the other side sort of wants to sightsee, and it's sort of the conflict between those two. And I think that's a great idea, and one that I kind of sympathize with.
Good to say, Matt, when it comes to films, I've actually, now that I think about it, I've got a script of mine I'd like to send you and get your opinion on it. As I saw it, who's a satire artist. I was, at the time, for context, I was working for Times of Malta. I won't reveal much about the script. I'll reveal the title. The title was Kitchen Cabinet, so do with that what you will. But I'll send it to you. I'd be very curious to hear what you think. Maybe we could actually get it made and both of us get arrested. We'll see.
We can do a script reading in this podcast.
We could. That's a good idea.
It'll be a very not safe for work episode.
You just have to put the disclaimer, disclaimers fix everything.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote this 2 years ago. I was a different person.
Yeah, it was, you have to view it in the context of its time, which was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And still continue on this ideal, like the movie that you want to make. Do you think that there's a possibility of you in the future doing something similar? We've seen the Barker documentary on the Bis-Serjeta page. Do you think that you could expound more if you had this resources?
The park of the movie.
Actually, there was.
Now that I think about it.
Shout out to Theodore Eljic. One time, Theodore wanted to do. No, I cannot say. But he had a really good, like Abraham Lincoln's Vampire Hunter. He had a similar idea. He had a similar idea, but with a more I cannot go into it more.
The myth of Werewolf Hunter, or he's got all the silver bullets in his belt. If Tia is watching this, call me. We'll work on it.
Actually, you can do that with Norman Lowell, where like his cane that he's got is actually the gun.
So speaking of Norman Lowell, so I live in FJR, and he frequents my parts quite a lot, and it's really funny. So like during COVID, so I would go for a walk every morning or in the countryside, and we'd cross paths quite often, and he would be wrapped up, like he just looked like this adorable old man, sort of in his scarf and woolly hat and coat, and you're thinking, oh, and then you're like, oh wait, no, Nazi. Don't spit on him. Don't spit on him. Don't kick him.
But punch him? No?
No. Misuse of electronic equipment again.
Sorry,
guys. I'm an addict to this. I'm addicted. It's really funny, like the whole misuse of electronic equipment thing. It just to me sounds like a sort of a espionage thing from the 70s or something. Like I've been tapping phones or.
Speaking of which, because I noticed with the, I think the libel clause was removed in Malta, right? Libel laws, libel clause.
Criminal libel. Criminal libel was removed.
Okay, and then we introduced something different, which is this one. Is it the?
This, I mean, journalists who I've been interviewed by and spoken to, they seem to be thinking like it's like, what is this? Just the criminal libel by another name?
That's one thing, and secondly, I've noticed like we can speak of David Darmanin. David Darmanin, who clearly stated, like, David Darmanin, heck, even Mancha himself. Like, so these guys, it's okay for them to say the most idiotic things online, and they can go scot-free. But even political figures, I feel like, I'm going to mention by now, don't care, what's his name, Bjorn Farrugia? Bjorn Formosa, who's leaning very towards a populist idea of nationhood. It seems like these laws are mostly favored them rather than some. I'm not saying
that's how laws work.
I know, right? In Malta, especially because I don't think
globally.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, laws always impact the least powerful people. Most powerful people aren't beholden to any laws. They can do what they want most of the time.
And before I give the reins back to Andrea, I wanted to ask you. So, I think I can call you quite an authority for satire and humorous content locally. Do you think Malta needs to up its game as far as satire goes? Because I'm saying because you're the only one who I think that rules them all, and then maybe Steve Healy with his Summer Panto, I would say.
So my favorite satirist in Malta is Alex Villa Gregory, he has a character called Ciccul Popru, he does musical comedy, so it's a bit different from what I do. But I think he's absolutely brilliant. And honestly, yeah, I do wish there was more people, because it can get a bit lonely doing this, because there's not many people who share my. What are you laughing at? Yeah, it's lonely. Are you laughing at my loneliness?
Yes.
That's mean of you.
It's okay. We established on the previous episode that Franco doesn't have any friends. So continue.
Yeah, no, he's got one less now.
Oh, but actually, Actually, by the way, this you can use as a defense if it helps. But I have to say that when I was in a very bad situation, Matthew came down from Imjar down to Marsa Scala to help me out, basically, just to show you that. Because I've seen some comments like, "Oh, Dalkisa, he's really not full of himself." So as far as I know, so I don't know.
I mean, he'll carpet bomb Bajibba, but he'll put his arm around his friend.
Ardit is another word that I've heard. I'm not sure what that means in English, though. As in the English...
Arrogant, most probably. Arrogant, yeah.
Cocky.
Pompous.
Yeah, don't think I can be accused of pompous. Arrogant, cocky.
Yeah. You have a bit of cocky. You have a bit of cocky in your...
it's just because it's fun. Honestly, the more these people get offended, these people who say in bad taste, the more fun it is. You know, Malta's so boring. I just like to make it fun every now and then, usually to my own detriment. But
ruffle a few feathers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Make it fun. Make it interesting.
Any other questions?
A tiny rock.
Oof. Any other questions, guys?
I can say from my side, both me and my mother greatly enjoy your content, so please keep it up.
Thank you to you and your mother for your support.
I'll let her know.
I don't know why
it'll genuinely make her day.
I don't know why it's a genuine thanks, so I don't know why I'm being funny about this. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Matt. Thank you for that. I think we can move on now to our discussion on the movies. We got 4 satirical movies to talk about, so let's get into that. All right, guys, so that's it with our interview and discussion with Matt, and we're going to move on now to talking about a number of satirical movies we selected. There have been a lot of satirical movies released recently, and thankfully we have Matt to discuss all these movies. And we're going to start off first with not my favorite movie of the list, let's put it that way. Joe, you're going to be discussing Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
That I am. Bit of background on Glass Onion, Knives Out mystery. It's obviously written and directed by Rian Johnson, who wrote and directed the previous smash hit Knives Out. And the plot is as follows. So, world-famous detective Benoit Blanc heads to Greece to peel back the layers of a mystery surrounding a tech billionaire and his eclectic crew of friends. So we have another whodunit from Rian Johnson, the man who loves whodunits, the man who did it so well with the previous Knives Out. Daniel Craig is back in the main role of Benoit Blanc. Edward Norton comes along. I am forgetting a lot of the guys I know. I know Kate Hudson's there, Dave Bautista's there as well, Catherine Hahn. Yeah, now going from the kind of like typical big Clue house Gothic mansion, we're now on a beautiful island in Greece, and we're surrounded by billionaires. And it was a bit of a weird watch when I watched this. I watched this back, I think, on Christmas Day, because it had come out just before then. But even like now, and again when I think about it, I do still like it. I did still have fun in the film. Probably not as much fun as I did in the first Knives Out, because that was really fresh. But I do like some of the, especially the satire that's going on through this film. And one of the things I've come to respect about it even more was with a fact I found out recently, is how Rian Johnson kind of satirizes himself through it. It's very self-referential. It's a big takedown of everything. But one thing I really liked was, the film is obviously called Glass Onion. And Johnson has said that is after the Beatles song Glass Onion, which for people that don't know, the Beatles wrote that song to make fun of fans and people in the music industry that kind of delved too deep into Beatles songs and claimed they were about this when they weren't. It just turned out the Beatles were taking a load of LSD and wrote some crazy shit. And Rian Johnson finishes the film in the credits with Glass Onion, which I think is just, it's a very clever way of telling critics and just audience members as well. And like he's not really here to do these like really deep meanings. There is satire, but at the end of the day, it's fun, and that's what he likes. But yeah, I don't have all that much to say about it. I'd much rather, I think, hear some of Andrea's thoughts on it, because I know he was overwhelmed by this film.
So before I talk about this, Matt, have you watched Glass Onion?
Yeah, I have, and I think I share Joe's assessment of it in that I preferred Knives Out. I enjoyed Knives Out more, but I can't say I did quite enjoy Glass Onion as well, and also I enjoyed the satirical element of it, of lampooning, people like Elon Musk and Ben Shapiro, who I'm a big fan of both.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan's definitely having the piss taken out of him with the Bautista character as well, I think.
Yeah, I think Bautista's a bit of a synthesis of Joe Rogan and Shapiro. I think he's just in general sort of a YouTuber, one of these, a grifter, basically.
Yeah. Johnson said
one of these
these characters are sort of a mixture and amalgam of all these figures, basically.
Yeah.
I do like the core message of that these really rich people are just fucking dumb when it comes
to that was
I do like that.
I think that was a great line where he's just like,
it's just so dumb.
You're just stupid. Like, you make people think that you're I'm not gonna spoil too much, but like the bit where he realizes that he mispronounces words, like he's inventing words.
Yes.
Like, I didn't notice, actually. I don't know if anyone noticed.
Yeah, I turned to my girlfriend.
But then when he says it, and it's just like, you're an
uses
idiot.
the term I'd like to inbreathiate, which doesn't mean it.
Yeah. It's just like, and that is also, like, I think, a bit of a nod to some of these commentators who sound smart but aren't really.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson.
Who are you talking to?
Cultural Marxism is that's. You see, you've got Cinderella and you've got the Beast and Gaston and Gaston is the tameable beast and Beauty wants to tame him because that's what women want, is a tameable man. Well, it's the crone and the wise. So it's very hard. It's very hard when you're doing Peterson not to go into Kermit the Frog.
Yo, Jordy, what color is your Bugatti? What color is your Bugatti, Jordy?
I need to work on my Andrew Tate impression as well, actually.
It's
a very good impression.
Thank you.
Oh, that was peak Peterson. That was brilliant.
I'd love to see how that sounds played back, because to me it doesn't sound like a good impression at all.
No, it's very good.
No, trust me, it does.
Thank you.
I really want to get you to prank call my dad with that voice, pretending to be Jordan Peterson, because he used to listen. He used to, thank God, listen to him a lot and has since stopped.
I feel like people are catching on to how much of a piece of shit he is.
Yeah, he's a bullshit artist.
Speaking of Glass Onion, there was a great line in it, like speaking without thought.
That was another great line, yes. I can't remember it exactly, but it was brilliant.
It's a dangerous thing to mistake speaking without thought for speaking the truth.
There was some great little pithy lines in there as well. Like these
one of the few moments during the movie where I was like, yeah, that's a very good line.
Isa, one redeemable quality.
Andrea,
one redeemable quality.
While we have you, why didn't you enjoy this fun film?
See, because it's fun. No.
Is it because it's not Willow or it's not Velma or it's not The Empty Man?
No, it's not Velma. Not Velma.
Velma would not have been out of place, given it's a mystery film.
That's true. That's true. We've got a mystery on our hands.
True. No, jokes aside. So I'm going to be honest. I actually enjoyed the majority of this movie, which sounds weird because I've been criticizing it quite a bit. I hated the opening 10 minutes. I absolutely hated the opening 10 minutes. It felt very dated, and any hint of humor in the opening, like 10-15 minutes, were mind-blowingly cringeworthy for me personally. I was going to stop the movie. I turned to my girlfriend and told her, listen, I don't think I'm going to continue watching this. But I continued. Once they get onto the boat, it improved a lot. Unfortunately, the whole thing was ruined by how obvious the whodunit was. The whodunit was way too obvious, and I know
that's kind of the
Joe
point,
is going
though.
to tell me that's the point.
It
But
is,
it's a
though.
whodunit. If it's a whodunit,
No, it's not. But the thing is, it's
Yes,
not.
it
Because
is.
the problem with the film is that Netflix made him call it a Knives Out mystery. If this was just called Glass Onion and Benoit Blanc happens to be in it, I don't think there'd be the same expectation on it being a whodunit, because Rian Johnson has never said it's a whodunit.
And it's like, Agatha Christie.
it's how the movie's
what's his name?
described. No,
No, wait. It's not Monsieur Poirot and Murder on the Orient Express. It's
Exactly.
Murder on the Orient Express. And what's the other one? Death of the Nile.
Yeah, Death on the Nile. Yeah,
I think I'm with Andrea in that, like, I just couldn't see it being anyone else other than Edward Norton's character, to be honest.
Yeah.
it was so obvious.
But I don't know if that was intentional or...
well, I
just
agree.
felt like,
It was
I was
obvious.
just like when it was like, of course it's Edward Norton.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's spelled out, very spelled out. But then again, the enjoyment of it was finding out that Janelle Monáe's character did basically come out winning out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And like if you compare it to the first Knives Out, like the first Knives Out, once you find out exactly who it is, the film ends 5 minutes later because you've gotten to the end of the
Yeah.
mystery. Whereas in Glass Onion, you find out who it is, and there's still another 35 minutes of movie left. That's why it tells me that's not the point of who it is.
And plus, there are some really great moments when Janelle Monáe character, I forgot, which she also
Which two
won
characters?
recently. No, the surviving twin, basically.
Yeah,
And she does the Mona Lisa pose.
yeah.
Those were some really nice subtle moments that I enjoyed as well.
There's a lot of hidden little Easter eggs.
The have you seen actually that the Rothko was actually hung upside down?
Yeah.
Oh, sir.
Yeah, so that's another. Okay, wait. Trivia jingle, Matthew.
Franco trivia.
Okay. The Rothko was hanged upside down.
Franco trivia. Well,
Another issue I had with it was just, I think Rian Johnson thinks he's smarter than he really is. I honestly do. His writing just doesn't do it for me. His visuals were great. The imagery, picture composition, everything is beautiful. But the characters in this, I know describing them makes them sound much better than they actually are, I think. I didn't like any of the characters personally. Apart from Janelle Monáe's character, she gave a good performance.
but
Yeah,
it's
but
point, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No,
they're all
no, as in-
rich pieces of shit.
I one of my favorite series is Succession, and Succession is all about rich pieces of shit, and I love watching rich pieces of shit being pieces of shit. And I didn't love watching Batista. I didn't love watching Norton. The characters felt so obvious. There was nothing smart about it. There was nothing of the. Last time I was listening to Red Letter Media comment about it, and they described perfectly. They said in a movie like The Menu or Triangle of Sadness, there's a lot of snarkiness in it. There's a lot of very smart, snarky, like commentary about the rich and so on. In this, it's just rich people are bad. Like, wow, okay. There's nothing. I didn't feel stimulated. My mind didn't feel stimulated watching this movie. You know, maybe I'm being a bit snobbish.
It's not Parasite, basically, because Parasite appends that trope.
Yeah.
And Slavoj Žižek actually said. Jenna, bet.
No, just thinking whether to go into another impression or if one's enough for one episode.
Go for it. It's
Do
your
it.
time. Before you go,
Because you hear with the problem with Glass Onion is that the problem with doing a Slavoj Žižek impression is that I know the mannerisms and the accent. This is not a problem, but I cannot think of what she would criticize in the films on the spot. Yes.
but Slavoj Žižek basically
I'm sure he'd have a lot to say on all of these films, to be honest.
He said that Parasite was the first time he saw the poor man not being portrayed in a noble manner. You know, it was not a Soviet propaganda movie. It's not a social realist movie.
I don't think it's...
No, it was much more...
I don't think it's the first, but... It's very pronounced, very highlighted. I'm just trying to think of like other films where
not for sure not Bicycle Thieves.
The poor people have agency, kind of.
No, but
anyway,
as in, it's always like they show that because of their misfortune, they live poorly. These poor people in Parasite, they scheme.
Yeah.
And so in a movie like that, you expect their comeuppance, so to speak, when these kind of villainous characters, at the end of the movie, there comes the comeuppance. What happens is that the villains in this movie were poor, basically, and they were exploiting. They were basically, the parasites in the movie, because at the end of the day, there was this guy living under. Spoiler alert for those who didn't see Parasite yet. There was this guy living underneath. So, and even as far as the rich people go, they're quite nice to begin with. And then it's when he draws the line that they finally see that's like, okay, there's no chance of social mobility whatsoever. When was it? When they were wearing the Indians and the father goes like, don't cross that line, you know. I think that's actually a reasonable criticism when this movie. That's all rich people are bad, full stop, you know.
That's why I didn't really enjoy it. It's like the kind of movie I really should enjoy, but I was so disappointed watching it by the end. And I know it's, like I said, visually, all the technical stuff is done really well. No discussion about that. The performances also I didn't hate. I actually quite liked. But it's just, the writing. Rian Johnson always does me with the writing. That guy, he has such great ideas and such great movies on paper. But when I watch them, I don't know why. They never do it for me.
Did you enjoy Knives Out though? Or?
No, actually, Knives Out I enjoyed quite a bit. But that was like not a traditional whodunit, but more of a traditional whodunit than this one, definitely. So, yeah, and that kept me guessing, to be honest. So I like that. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. And I liked Looper as well from Rian Johnson. I really liked Looper. But apart from that, oh boy. Anyways, moving on. Franco, do you want to review the menu next?
So the menu, a bit of a synopsis first. You can watch the menu now on Disney Plus, and it's about a young couple who travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. Now, I enjoyed it more than Triangle of Sadness, this movie. It flows so well, and I found it very, how shall I say it? Fast moving. I've been saying that some movies needed like 10 minutes less and whatnot, so this was perfect length. It's good to see Voldemort having a culinary rebirth. Instead of serving Horcruxes, he serves hors d'oeuvres. Anyway, I liked Anya Taylor-Joy was great in this. She had a very good commanding performance. Now that you're making me think about it, were there any redeemable qualities in some of the rich people? I think the wife of the old guy, she's one of the characters that deserve to die the least, so to speak. The other guys were basically enablers. It's funny though, that's like it's felt slightly reminiscent of Midsommar, and the fact that the soundtrack was by Colin Stetson didn't help. Not that it wasn't a good soundtrack, it was a great soundtrack with his now you can recognize his signature, so to speak, in his music, and all the performances are all around great. But that's what I liked more than it was fast paced, and it knew what point it wanted to make, and it just went for it. Triangles of Sadness. I speak to as to why I didn't enjoy it much when Matthew speaks about Triangle of Sadness.
So really quickly, Joe, because we've discussed it already. Your thoughts on the menu summarized?
I like it. I do like the satirical elements. I like the cast in particular, especially Nicholas Hoult. Love him and whatever he does.
He's great.
I love that he's got now, like ever since he did The Favourite and The Great, he's got this really lovable idiot look to him.
Yeah. It's his little face.
Yeah, exactly.
And how his eyes go when he's delivering a line. This sort of like smug, sort of, I'm smart. Like, I think...
yeah.
He's great. I love him.
But yeah, my only real issue with the menu was just how it was wrapped up. I kind of just felt with the ending, I was kind of just like, that's it. Kind of thing. I liked it more when it was a bit zanier and crazier and a bit less preachy, because, I mean, with the zaniness and craziness, I was getting the message that the film was putting across. I felt with some of the preachy stuff, it kind of babied people a bit, which then it leads me to understand why some people are so crazy about this film, because I'm seeing, especially now recently, people are like, oh, this movie's the best movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably because you're probably stupid, but it's fine.
In which instances, thank you, Joe. In which instances, what did you find it preachy?
It mainly got towards the end. It just became a bit too on the nose with what it was doing.
Okay.
I liked it. I liked it when it kind of just like fucking went for it, when it was just a bit wild.
And
like I didn't like the parts where like the people who were dying had like these big like emotional outbursts and stuff like that. I kind of wanted it to be the Hunger Games but Chef's Table.
Okay. And again, another mention is Anya Taylor-Joy holding her own against a giant like Ralph Fiennes. Yeah. We have to mention, because I would have shat my pants if I were to do that monologue, the cheeseburger monologue in front of Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Just because of his face and how intimidating he looks, like he's gonna snap you like a twig.
Yeah.
Put one step out of line.
Him and Daniel Day-Lewis, I would say.
Yeah. I'd be fully terrified of Daniel Day-Lewis beating me up with a bowling pin at any moment in my life. It's my greatest fear, actually.
I drink your milkshake.
The chance of being beaten up with a bowling pin by Daniel Day-Lewis is small, but not zero.
That's exactly it. That's why I walk around looking over my shoulder every day.
Matt, you haven't watched the menu, right?
I have.
Oh, you have? All right. So what do you think about the menu?
I really enjoyed it. I thought so. I'm not sure exactly why there's this sort of comparison between like what are you, team menu or team triangle kind of. It's really funny. I think because they kind of deal with a similar subject and they satirize sort of the same group of people, which actually they all do. As in, these Glass Onion, Triangle of Sadness, the menu. White Nose, not really, but so those first three, they all go after the same group of people, which I think is quite telling as in terms of like where we're at as a society. I really enjoyed the menu. I thought it was, I went into it, I think the trailer was slightly misleading because I was expecting it to lean further on the comedy side, whereas it's a bit on the more the shock side. I think it sort of aims to shock you more than it does make you laugh, although there are obviously some funny lines, thanks to Nicholas Hoult, who, as we've already said, is absolutely hilarious. The ending, I can't say that I didn't like the ending, but I get also I love it. I'm quite picky about endings myself, and I think a lot of the times I tend to be disappointed by endings. But yeah, enjoyed it.
Okay.
All right, Joe. So apparently you have to leave, right?
Yep, that's me. Thanks for this, guys.
Thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thanks. As usual, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, Matt. I hope you'll join us again one day.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to.
Once you reach the rank of captain, obviously.
El generalissimo.
With that, I'll be seeing you. Have a good one, guys.
So that was the menu. I haven't commented about it. So I liked the menu. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was very smart. For most of, I agree with Joe that at the end it got a bit too preachy, but overall I liked it. The ending, didn't do it that much for me, but the burger scene was very good. And overall, it was very well written, very well made movie. And I like that Franco mentioned the soundtrack. The soundtrack was So I
think what I liked about it as well, what I liked about it is that it kept me sort of wrapped for the whole thing. Like my attention did not flag. It just like what is going to happen next, and especially after the first incident with the waiter. I think that was the first shock moment, wasn't it? Or was it
when he shot himself? When he
oh, okay. We're doing spoilers. Okay. When he shot himself, I was like,
okay. Yeah. No, it's the reactions were also good. It's like, oh, no, this is part of it's everything. Parts of it is like, the willingness to accept that everything is part of the performance, then.
Well, even when he cuts his finger off as well, that's another bit as well, where you're like, where the guests, it's part of the show.
Max, you're next. You're going to be discussing Triangle of Sadness.
All right, so Triangle of Sadness, I would describe as a black comedy, directed by Ruben Östlund.
Ruben
other films. Östlund, you know Swedish, Franco. You tell me how to say it.
Yeah,
Was he Danish?
Ruben Östlund, Swedish.
I think he's
Svenska.
Swedish, yeah. Svenska. Yeah, it's a satirical black comedy, and it is about a young couple, one of whom, the guy is a model, who's a bit down on his luck, and the girl, the woman, is a influencer, and they basically go on a cruise that is populated entirely by rich assholes. I would say it's a sort of there's a few different angles to it. It's mainly, I would say, like a commentary on class and how much separated rich people are from reality, and then sort of that gets spoil the film, but that gets detached. Right? Thank you, Frank. Thank you. That gets basically turned on its head in the third act of the film. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funnier than The Menu. If we're doing the whole team menu versus team triangle, I don't know which side I'd fall on, but I do like let's just say the vomit scene just had me in stitches. You can't go wrong with a bit of vomit, as Monty Python taught us back with, as we already mentioned, Meaning of Life. And I think the film in general has a bit of that meaning of like tone to it, to be honest. This sort of silly but like dark meanness to it. And I think I've seen some criticism of the film, actually. I mean, I can understand, which I can understand a lot of it. It is like 3 hours long, and I feel like it is quite meandering. And I would have liked to see more. What's his name? The captain.
That's my main gripe, for example.
What's his name?
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. I would have liked to see more Woody Harrelson, because I think he really stole the film in the second act. I also love the couple who were arms dealers. That was absolutely brilliant. And the way they met their spoiled it now, haven't I?
The spoilers. The way they met
the way they met
their friends.
Their friends on the boat. I think as well, like sort of in the first part, it establishes that the two Yaya and what was the guy's name? So I've got the Wikipedia up here. Carl was the guy. It sort of establishes them as their main characters, and then sort of in the second act sort of forgets them a bit. It sort of forgets that they're there. But I think films like that, they can be permitted to be a bit all over the place. And I think some films should have that freedom to sort of go all over the place and not necessarily keep sort of laser focused. Really enjoyed it.
Franco. What do you think about Triangle of Sadness? I know you're a team menu.
By the way, it's like the team menu is just a way of saying, because like Matthew said, they both operate in their own terms as well. They both have good points and bad points. But I prefer the menu because I felt the meandering of Triangle of Sadness is what pulls it down a notch, for example, for me. And I felt like it was the obvious, if the menu was shown with Triangle of Sadness in Cannes would still have awarded Triangle of Sadness as best, as the Palme d'Or winner. I don't know, it felt for me that it's a Cannes satire, like I don't feel it was as brutal or as the menu or as nuanced as Parasite. I think if we put Parasite as the benchmark of 21st century satire, I would put Parasite, the menu, then Triangle of Sadness. I felt Triangle of Sadness was tame in comparison to Force Majeure, for example. Force Majeure was his first movie.
I need to watch the other two that he's made.
I haven't seen
the other one's The Square, right?
I haven't seen The Square yet. Like the length for. Okay, actually, I wanted to mention the good points of Triangle of Sadness. The boat scene, hilarious. I was laughing so much. Dolly De Leon as Abigail, where she like establishes her power when she goes where she goes like, where's the yacht? Where's the yacht? That's what she was she's a street smart person. But then I felt it was, almost enjoying the sound of its own voice by the length. Like, why did it have to be 3 hours long, for example? And especially the first part, I was fine. Oh, like, we got that these characters are superficial, so why do we keep on getting all the same? So it was like beating the dead horse. Like, we know that they're, especially with how the Greek staff member was unceremoniously sent off. Okay, we know that these are very like childish, rich assholes. It almost felt like the trailer was all the best bits that the movie had. I would say.
I've not watched the trailer, so
I know I'm being a bit of a.
I agree with Frank on this. That the trailer did kind of ruin the best parts of this whole thing.
No, because it's almost felt like this felt for me was a satire about the elite that the elite would feel comfortable with, unlike the menu or Parasite. That's why
Parasite, absolutely. I agree.
But that's why I said it's one of the Palme d'Or winners. Like, hey guys, we can't take we don't take ourselves seriously. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't know what you think.
I don't know. I feel like having a boat full of rich people puking and shitting themselves is a pretty harsh.
But at the end, you know what? Again, spoiler alert. Yeah. Yaya said she still wanted to establish her class over Abigail,
which I thought was green.
Which is good, yeah. But then again, she ended up
like she hasn't learned a thing.
True. I don't know, but it felt, I don't know, apart from the boat scene. You're right, Matthew. Apart from the boat scene, I felt it a bit tame.
I think a criticism that can be leveled at all of the films that we've discussed so far, Glass Onion, Triangle of Sadness, and The Menu, is that it's not particularly clever satire. Like it's a bit fish in the barrel, like these are people who are very easy to
these are very easy targets, targets. Which,
doesn't, it's still a lot of fun, but none of these, I think, Andrea, you said, like you mentioned about Glass Onion, if it's not particularly clever. I think you could possibly level that at all three, to be honest.
But do you think, in fact, I think, but it's almost rephrasing Andrea's question now. Do you think that we're losing that cleverness in the comedy, especially with the latest entries, like in the past 10 years, I would say?
I mean, Parasite was clever as fuck.
That's that's why I set it as a benchmark.
Oh, as in post Parasite.
Post Parasite, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you can talk about trends based on a few films. You do need to. I mean, if you want to appeal to a large number of people, which I think out of all those three, obviously Glass Onion being a Netflix film is the one that tried the most. Probably second, and then you third. Triangle of Sadness, but I don't know. Writing satire. I don't want to toot my own horn, but writing satire is quite difficult. It is quite difficult to write something that says something. It's one of the reasons why I love satire, because it's that opportunity to say something while meaning something else. I find it very playful, and both as a consumer of satire and as a writer of satire. So from the consumer side, it's a kind of like the satirist will give the 1+1, but you as a consumer have to make the 2, and that's where the satisfaction comes from. That's where the laughter comes from.
Yeah,
it's not spoon feeding you, which is a problem I think with most Maltese comedy. Is like, here is the joke, laugh now. And it's probably canned laughter as well.
Actually, I wanted to make a quick comment and also suggest some old movies, because I feel like great Italian satire back in the 60s and 70s, very politically charged. I was thinking about, this is a good actually suggestion to us also for our viewers, and you can also leave comments about any other good satires that you've seen. It's called Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion. And it's about a highly regarded Italian police inspector who murders his mistress only to become part of the homicide investigation that follows. The inspector himself proceeds to plant clues at the crime scene, as his fellow officers either ignore or fail to recognize his obvious tampering. But all is not as it seems. While the killer may have an inside track on fabricating his own innocence, he also seems to be testing the competence and integrity of Italian law enforcement. Which is that is already,
I'll check that out.
That is already in itself very clever. There's also Louis Buñuel's Bourgeoisie. Just a second. Bourgeoisie. Buñuel. The discreet charm of the bourgeoisie, which falls very much on the zaniness of it all. And you also get The Exterminating Angel about the elite not being able to leave out of this. It's on the shorter side, and I think you can see it on YouTube, The Exterminating Angel by Buñuel, where these elite people having lunch cannot leave the room. They always stay in the same room. The discreet charm of the bourgeoisie, and this time is about they almost start to eat, but they never manage to start eating because they're always interrupted by unusual events or symbolic dreams. I think there was much more fun and play with the form as far as satire goes back in the day.
Worth thinking about. I'm not sure you can sort of come to a conclusion based on just these three films, which were good films, I think. But as I'm saying, I think but I mean, you know, all films are a product of the times that they're made in. So this seems to be a subject that filmmakers think is deserving of satire. So the excesses of the super rich. It's just that it's fairly easy to sort of satirize them.
I agree.
But does it, because it tends to be, easiness tends to be lazy though.
I wouldn't call these movies lazy though.
No, I wouldn't.
Not even.
It's just that the subject matter is not particularly. It's like, right, how can we satirize the super rich? Like, what's ridiculous about? No, it's fairly easy. Go and it's the 5 things in like few seconds.
100%.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see what the next few years have in store. Really, I mean, you know, we're talking about. I mean, Death of Stalin was a brilliant satire and very clever, I think.
No, very. Death of Stalin was also a good benchmark, I would say, because Death of Stalin doesn't shy away also from showing the horrible. It was a very complex film. It wasn't just funny; it was also scary at the same time. That it showed you the gravity of it all, of being under.
I mean, that's the great thing. That is a satire that can show you like the horror, but also make you laugh at the same time. I think you're referring to like the death squads. People going picking up people and bundling them into the back of trucks and stuff and having them shot, but also the absurdity of the whole of totalitarianism and the cult of personality.
And that character was also aiming to become the next, taking Stalin's place. It was big, not Brezhnev.
Yeah.
Did you see that of Stalin, Andrea?
Gulag for you.
I haven't watched it.
Gulag for you, Al.
No, my dad watched it. I know my dad watched it and loved it. I still have to watch it. No, I've not yet.
We put you in a gulag and put Empty Man on repeat. That's your torture.
At least I play Call of Duty. I've had a lot of experience with the gulag.
In between hitting rocks, breaking rocks with your pickaxe, just watch. I still have no idea what the Empty Man is about, which is funny. And I think I'm gonna leave it that way. Just keep it as a joke that I'll cherish forever.
The inside joke.
So one movie which definitely was not empty was White Noise, filled with social commentary and themes galore. And that's the last movie I have to talk about today. The only movie which isn't basically rich people bad. So I watched White Noise on Netflix. The plot is basically a college professor, Jack Gladney, and his family's comfortable suburban life is upended when a nearby chemical leak causes the airborne toxic event, releasing a noxious black cloud over the region that forces the Gladney family to evacuate. I have my Instagram review here because I wrote a short review for Instagram for this as well. So what to say about White Noise? Directed by Noah Baumbach. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I had read a few reactions here and there on Prickly Pears about it before I watched it, and I expected not to like it because the way it was described felt a little like it was a movie which was sniffing its own farts a bit too much. But I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I thought, first of all, I was actually quite surprised by how good the whole thing looked. So obviously, I mean, Noah Baumbach is a brilliant director. He knows how to, his imagery, the CGI was very good with regard to the storm. That was a very, very good thing. Cinematography wise, excellent. And the final dance scene was really well done as well. With regard to performances, I really liked Adam Driver. I liked Adam Driver's performance quite a bit. He dominates the screen. What I also liked about this was especially the commentary, the whole social commentary element of it, I thought was quite well done. My issue with the movie were basically two. Number one, I thought it was a bit too long. With as a movie, I think it could have been maybe 20 minutes shorter. There were parts which really did quite drag. The whole film is basically split into 3 parts. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if that's also related with the way the book is structured. But it's split up into 3 parts. The first part is basically seeing Adam Driver's character as a professor, and he had an excellent monologue in that scene, in the opening part of the movie. Then we have the actual airborne toxic event caused by a train crash which releases toxic chemicals, and that whole part of the movie was the best part. The tension that develops in this movie is really good, and all beautifully portrayed. Once the storm is over, that's when the movie starts to struggle a little bit, and that's where I think the movie could have cut out maybe 15-20 minutes of the whole thing. However, I must say that the way it was all wrapped up, I liked it very much, the way they end up in church and they learn their lesson of listen, we have to enjoy life day by day and go along with our lives and not worry about death and not worry about all that stuff. So I liked how that concluded the whole thing. But it definitely could have cut out 15-20 minutes from. I also did quite like Greta Gerwig's performance. I thought she was quite good in this. Adam Driver obviously dominates the whole thing. He's a brilliant actor. and all the themes of consumerism, debt, and though I thought they were quite interestingly explored in this movie, but definitely not as good as something like The Menu, Triangle of Sadness, or I preferred this to Glass Onion, I'll be honest. I preferred White Noise to Glass Onion. Yes, I did. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Matt, have you watched White Noise?
Yeah, I watched it last night, so it's the one that's freshest in my memory, actually.
Ooh, okay. What do you think about it?
It's an interesting film, isn't it? Just to chime in with what you said, beautifully shot, cinematography, really beautiful. It's I don't know if I can say I either liked it or this. I think I would go more on the liking side. Yeah, it's a curious little film. I liked, like you, I also like the middle section. Especially Adam Driver's character's sort of refusal to believe that something is wrong. It kind of reminded me a lot of COVID, early COVID, the reactions, and which are perfectly normal. I think of like refusing to believe that something is seriously wrong, and I think that's probably an intentional nod there. The character, the Adam Driver, brilliant. Greta Gerwig, very sympathetic character, I think. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's a bit of a, like, when you finished, it's like, what the fuck did I just watch kind of film.
That was exactly my reaction. Like, what the fuck was that all about?
In a good way, I think, more than a bad way.
For me, it was in a bad way, in a very, very bad way. Because that's one of the things I found very lazy about it, is the way much of the dialogue was just word by word from the book. It felt like I was like, I told you last time, I said, like, when there was like, oh, I didn't read the book, I saw the movie. And this is a great example where you can ignore the book, I just saw the movie. So,
yeah.
Like, I couldn't understand why. For example, there was one ridiculous line where the teenager goes like, the thing about the homework was just a canard.
A canard, yes, I thought. As if a teenager would use the word canard.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And even when there's like... Go for it.
No, I was going to say it was notable that, like, it was a bit of a...
And even...
Canard, you say?
Again, another spoiler. Even when she admits to her, sleeping with this guy. What's his name? Klaus. I know he was German, and he was an addict. And she's like...
It's really funny how they make all of it, like, the guy who the guy who gives her the drug, who she sleeps with, is German. The nurse is a German. Like, why is everyone... obviously it's the whole Hitler studies thing going on, but like, it's... Even I thought the hospital scene was quite Python-esque as well, really. That whole sort of surreal...
I really liked that scene.
With it.
I really
liked it, yeah. Sorry, Franco.
No. What I agree with what you said, that it looks great. I really love the film quality in it, especially the hotel scene, and in fact, is when I was discussing it with you guys, I said Noah Baumbach should do a horror or a thriller next, like take it seriously, or maybe does inject it with his sardonic wit and humor, as in the Greenbergs, or I forgot what other movies he made. Just felt this like it was his special project, I know for sure, but lazily made.
I did a little reading after, like, I read a review afterwards, and it said that the book is kind of like people had been wanting to make a film out of it for a long time, and it's sort of been this.
Like there was another thing that I was like, what the hell? Why would you leave this in the edit? Was when you remember they were when they ended up in the river, and the car kept swerving around, and all of a sudden the camera goes like this. That was very mistake. which I also noticed in Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up was when Leonardo DiCaprio stops the car in its tracks, goes out and sees the meteor coming, and you could see that the camera was just like moved out of the car. And this was
I think these are probably things that only cinematographers will pick up.
But I couldn't. But that's one thing I could understand. I don't think that even if you're not a cinematographer, you'd be like, "Huh? Well, what was this all about?" When the camera just moves up and leads nowhere. I found it, but even Andrea said it. It's like this was enjoying its own smart. The smell of its own farts. Adam Driver, I liked him a lot. Adam Driver was great dialogue, and I liked his physique. Was not this imposing figure. He wasn't Kylo Ren, basically a buffed up Kylo Ren, and very menacing. And also when he punches the wall in Marriage Story, this one was like I'm a professor, Almost.
He did remind me of sort of a few professors back in the day.
Yes. I think it also made a good. It did take a dig at this intellectual university professors.
Yeah, Don Cheadle was great, I thought, in as well.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, it was very good.
I liked, for example. I like his.
I was going to say also Andre 3000. Sorry.
Yeah, I have wanted Andre 2000's characters to be more prominent because his voice was also great, Andre 2000.
Yeah. I last saw him in the Jimi Hendrix biopic. I don't know if he's made anything. He's been in anything since then.
It's a bit of a mess of a movie, but So I give it a 3 out of 5. Don't get me wrong, I didn't absolutely love this movie, but the majority of it I enjoyed. Just wish it could have been trimmed a little bit.
I did also find myself sort of my attention flagging about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way, and I'm like looking at what time it was. I'm like, man, it's like another hour of this film left. So
yeah, same here. Right after the whole storm part ended, that's where I was completely in it,
and that looked great. I have to say the VFX in this movie were of top notch, especially the clouds, the toxic clouds.
Even the discussion on the computer predicting how long he'll live, that part was really smart and really well done. I'm curious to see if that's taken directly from the book or not. If that part's on the computer.
I like that part. That part I was really... you were right. That was one part I enjoyed. It's, okay, finally something smart, something is happening. So you're predicting, but you're not predicting what's not. Good. And then that's it. Everything is just for...
I just sort of bought into the dialogue heaviness of it. I sort of in the first 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, it's kind of heavy on the dialogue. And then I bought into it as the style of the film, that they're all talking and all...
Even the teenagers part. Because Franco, you mentioned you didn't like the way the teenagers talk. I, like Matt, I can just okay, that's the way this movie is. And I actually ended up quite enjoying that element of this movie.
And it's sort of, okay, she's precocious. She's... Yeah.
There was a article recently where they said that they were writing Barbie and White Noise at the same time. And they say it operates in the same universe, Barbie, as White Noise. So I think this kind of style, knowing Barbie and this how ridiculous the idea sounds on paper, I think maybe this style of movie making might make more sense when we see Barbie, and not for White Noise. Who knows?
Looking forward to Barbie. Really looking forward to Barbie. One of my highly anticipated movies of 2023.
Even Bonanno, by the looks of it.
I didn't know there was maybe I knew there was a Barbie film, but that sort of pushed it out of my memory.
This summer, man. This summer.
Okay. You know what I'm looking forward to, actually? If we're talking about, I mean, I have no idea what to expect, but the Winnie the Pooh, the Blood and Honey.
I heard the first reactions were really good to that, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard the first reactions to that were really, really good.
Is it already
very,
out?
very good.
I think it's already out.
Is it?
I think it is outside of Malta, obviously.
The release date is February 15th. Hey, on Singles Day.
So yeah, that's why there were the first reactions then by some critics, and I get to watch it before.
The trailer is out.
Yeah, the trailer makes it look quite interesting. Huh? I don't know if it's the kind of movie I'll go watch in the cinema, but it's like an interesting one.
Speaking of cinema, tomorrow we're gonna go watch Megan. Intriguing.
Yes,
because we're intrigued. Sorry.
I think it's time to close it, Franco. With that joke.
Hand on that note.
Thank you very much for being with us, Matt. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you for having me.
It?
Wait, guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just a second. Sorry, because I think this is important to mention. Right now, Matt Bonanno is collecting funds for his defense. So you can, what's the PayPal?
I like how you say defense like an American football, like defense.
For his defense council. Yeah. Well, can you give us the details about this fund that you're...
Yeah, if you would like to contribute to my fund in my legal battle, my battle for the ages, against, well, it's technically against the police. You can do so. I'm sure everyone's heard the details by now of the whole case, and I thought you want to go into it for obvious reasons. But if you would like to support me, and at the end of the day, you would be supporting Bis-Serjeta, you can do so at Bis-Serjeta.com/donate, or you can join my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Bis-Serjeta, so Bis-Serjeta, but without the dash.
Okay, I thought you were being financed by George Soros, man. Why do you need all this?
Oh yeah, but he's only giving me €5. Yeah, I'm in Megalopolis. These Hungarians.
You're gonna get sued by Hungarians now.
Do you have many Hungarian viewers, listeners?
Well, listen, we spoke about many erotic movies.
Number one podcast in Budapest.
I have a few friends from Hungary, to be fair.
Well,
but at least, Matt, you had a couple of hours here talking about movies instead of the usual.
Yes, it was quite refreshing. It's been a bit of a tiring week.
And also, I would recommend to see his interview with Rafael Vassallo. It's a great interview. If you want to,
I haven't watched it back. Well, I've watched some of it back, but
it's good.
I don't really like watching myself.
You did well.
Thanks.
These satirists, come on. Attention, horror.
All right, Franco. Thank you for being here as well with us. I hope you enjoyed it as well. We always have a good time. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. So, as always, don't forget to like, heart, follow, share this with your friends. Please let everyone know about it. Anyone who loves movies, anyone who likes
and follow
series, video games. Yeah, follow us on all social media. It's very, very important. Social media is essential for us to continue growing. And we're going to continue making more Instagram, Reels, and Facebook, and TikTok. I'm going to be honest, there's so many elements to social media which I've never explored. Very tiring. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So today we had a very, very interesting, very packed show, and I hope you enjoyed it. Talked a lot about satirical movies we've watched recently, humor in general. We had a very interesting interview with Matt as well. Leave a comment with your thoughts about the whole thing. Where is satire going? Do we have a future for satire in Malta? Can it improve? And so many things we've discussed. Please let us know in the comment section below, and please share this with your friends. It's essential. Share it with your friends so we can continue growing. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and peace. The end.
Zoinks.